I am using the same chart for the next few videos because there isn't another chart for a good little ways yet into the book. And this is the chapter entitled Dynamics of Mind Concerning Light Units of Matter. It should now be perfectly clear that this universe of mind, of which light or matter is the substance, and of which the electromagnetic energy of thinking is the force, is a dimensionless reality. It should also be perfectly clear that this creating physical universe of form is an illusion of the image-making faculty of mind, the one inspired supreme purpose of which is to conceive ideal and give it the appearance of form. It should also be clearly understood that form and dimension are attributes of motion, and in no way are they attributes of matter, which is of the substance of mind, exactly as the form of bubbles in the ocean foam are attributes of motion and not of the ocean's substance. It should be perfectly understood from now on that in making an analysis of the effects of motion which constitute the creating universe, we are dealing with an illusion, an ideal only, which has its cause in thinking mind. The universe of illusion is a corpuscular universe. All dimension of matter and energy is corpuscular. All expression of force is corpuscular. Corpuscles are inconceivably small particles of matter, or light, or mind substance, which have been churned into motion by the electromagnetic forces of the thinking process of mind, exactly as bubbles are particles of water and air churned into motion by the force of a propeller. The complexity of motion of these corpuscles is the sole cause of the illusion of a unity of many things evolved from the imagination of thinking mind. As it should also by now be thoroughly understood that the words matter and light are used in the sense of characterizing the substance of mind, and that the word energy is used in the sense of characterizing the force or life principle which makes of mind a thinking substance, that the words electricity and magnetism are used in the sense of characterizing the apparent division of the one force of energy into the appearance of two. The relator will henceforth use these words with the assurance that the line between reality and illusion has been sufficiently well drawn to justify the omission of qualifying words. Let it then be clearly understood that the universe of mind is that which man characterizes as the spiritual universe, and that the universe of dimension is man's physical universe. One is cause, the other is effect. One is real, the other is illusion. Man has to do with illusion during those periods in which he is forming the idea of himself as illusion, so therefore it is necessary that he shall understand the dimensions of the universe of illusion in order that he may control them. Man has long ago discarded the corpuscular theory of light in favor of a theory of electromagnetic effect of undulating waves, which are supposed to exist in the ether. He must now replace this second theory, for the ether of man's concept is non-existent. There are no undulating ether waves. Light is corpuscular. Modern science has proved mathematically that light could not be corpuscular because of certain phenomena known as interference and aberration. Modern science has reasoned that because of the phenomena of interference, light should not be corpuscular, for if light consisted of little particles, the phenomena of interference would prevent light from traveling. It is presumed by man that light travels. because the evidence of his senses so convinces him. Light does not travel, and the appearance of it doing so is another of the many illusions of dimension which deceive man. All light units of matter are given the appearance of form by the magnetic reaction of the attempt of electricity to seek higher pressures. This attempt is resisted by magnetism, and the resistance is registered in electricity as heat. The rebound into lower pressures and the sudden cooling of the electric whirling particle by the expansion of the lower pressure causes it to solidify. It is turned into ice, it freezes. It becomes what is known as crystallic. All matter is crystallic. Crystallization is a dimension. It is the first appearance of form. Matter registers its energy through temperature dimension of heat and cold in solids of light which man calls crystals. Crystals are but apparent solids of light sustained in that illusion of appearance by motion. Crystallization is one of the most important dimensions of the illusion of form. Nothing concerning the basic principle or law governing crystallization is known by modern science. It is known by experiment and observation that all elements or compounds crystallize in any one of 6 different classes, but science knows no way of determining crystallic formation or cleavages, twinning, or other characteristics other than by observation or experiment. In a later volume, the fundamental laws underlying crystallization will be charted exactly. In this volume of First Principles, the basic chart will be reproduced in a brief chapter on crystallization. Solid matter is frozen light, crystallized by released pressure. The harder it freezes, the more solid it appears to be. The slower its motion, the harder it freezes. The faster its motion, the more quickly it melts. All form of matter has its melting point, in temperature at which point matter begins to disappear as form of matter. The more solid matter is, the higher the temperature necessary to melt it. Man's solids are but light retarded in its 12th dimension, which is axial rotation, and sustained in that state of decelerated motion by the energy of gravitation sturdily opposing disintegration. Man's dependable realities are form and dimension. Man's concept of reality is solidity. Solidity is an illusion of dimension. Solids are positive only above certain pressures and below their corresponding temperatures. The greater the pressure, the higher the freezing point. The lesser the pressure, the lower the freezing point. Man's dependable realities are but the ices of substances. And so are all things which man knows and sees and feels and stands upon and builds upon, and upon which he relies as true and staunch and real and everlasting. All are but as ice, and at their respective melting points as reliable as ice. If this planet did not know a temperature above that which keeps ice solid, man's concept of ice would have as much stability as his concept of granite. If this planet knew a temperature which melted iron, the solids would be few and man himself could not be. All solids have their several melting points, or points of liquefaction. All solids are liquefied gases and frozen liquids, which have their varying liquefaction and freezing points. Freezing points are points of crystallization, and vary with the complexity of the elements. All frozen solids can be liquefied by heat. All liquids can be broken into gases by still more heat. Heat radiates. Radiative acceleration is centrifugal.